Hello and welcome. I'm Matt McCall. Thanks for joining me here for another episode of Moneyline. A little special Monday episode here because we have a big event tomorrow. So we're getting right at it. We're going to talk about stimulus. Are we going to get a stimulus deal done this week? If so, will the market rally or sell off if we do not get one done? We're talking about space. We're building a 4G network in space. We're going to talk about some investments there. We're also going to talk about Bitcoin, a meeting today that some central bankers had. All this and your questions coming up right now on Moneyline.
The buck starts here. Moneyline with Matt McCall.
Again, thanks for joining me. I'm Matt McCall, and it is October 19th, I think. Yes, it is October 19th. It's a Monday. I was not planning on doing a podcast today, but I realized I have an event tomorrow, so I want you all to tune into that. So I had to do it today, so I completely spaced it. But we very quickly came together with a couple great topics that we're going to talk about. We'll talk about the market, what's going on today in a moment. Pelosi gave the White House basically 48 hours to get a new stimulus deal done. We'll see what that means. I'll talk about that in a moment. Then we had a meeting of some central bankers this morning as well. They only met for like an hour, but it's talking about central bank digital currencies, CBDC. They're referring to that. I'll let you know what Fed Chairman Powell said and what happened to Bitcoin and altcoins on that news. Then we're going to talk about space because there's two really big, important, in my opinion, long-term news stories that came out in the last 24 hours about space and the investment implications you could see from that. I'll talk about some companies. And then because it was last minute, I just posted on Twitter about 10 minutes ago. I'm trying to figure out which computer I did it on this one. I said I will take the first 5 questions I get on Twitter, and there's about 30 questions. But I'm going to go through those live because they're not planned, and I'm going to answer your questions live as if we were doing this right in front of me. So we're going to get to that, but a lot of fun stuff, and I guarantee you can get a lot of stocks out of this episode, and just a view in the market with 15 days away from the election. Man, oh man. All right, so let's talk about the markets right now, where we're at. So just so you know, I'm not all planned today. I got computers everywhere here. But the S&P 500 was up earlier. All the major indices were up. It's now down about 9 points, about 0.25%. People are starting to question whether a stimulus deal will get done. And like I mentioned just a moment ago, this weekend, Nancy Pelosi came out and said, I'm going to give you 48 hours to get a deal done. I don't know what that means because I don't trust any politician anymore. Does that mean 48 hours from the moment she said it? Does it mean 48 hours from today? Does it mean it will take 48 hours to get done? I don't even know what the hell it even means. And again, I don't believe a word that comes out of her mouth or any of their politicians, so I don't know. But she said the only way that a stimulus bill will get done before the election, if it happens, she gets this 48-hour deadline. Again, I don't know what it means, so we'll see. The market was up on that news originally because I think people thought, okay, well, Mnuchin and her are meeting this afternoon, so maybe something will get done. I think something should get done. I think something will get done. It's a lot of political posturing of, well, I'm only going to sign this deal if you throw my district some money for some bridge to nowhere. It's a normal BS that we deal with every day in this country when it comes to politicians, always looking out for themselves. So I don't know what's going to happen here. My odds on bet here would be that, yes, that we do get a deal done. So we will see what happens. If a deal does get done, the market will rally. If a deal does not get done, I think we sell off into the election because I think we price in a little bit of a deal getting done. At some point in the next couple of weeks, before or after the election, a deal will get done. If there is the Democrats, they come in, they take a blue wave, they're going to spend so much money, it's going to be insane in the next year, in my opinion, which will be very good for stocks. It may not be great for the country, but it will be very good for stocks. If Trump gets reelected, he will continue to spend. He'll get a stimulus package passed, in my opinion, as well. We'll see a lot of infrastructure spending come through. So either way, spending will not stop. That is what I do know. I do know that. I don't know who's going to win. I don't want to say I don't care. I said this last time. I care greatly who wins, who is the leader of our country, of the free world, in my opinion. But at this point, man, oh man, I just want to get it over with. Let's get it over with. So markets, again, dropping on that, down about 12 points right now, the S&P, 35 basis points. So we also had a meeting this morning with Fed Chairman Powell and a couple other central bank leaders. And as I mentioned, they talked about CBDC. which is central bank digital currency. It was hosted by the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. And last year about this time, Powell came out and spoke about central banks and digital currencies and said the U.S. is evaluating it. I'm just going to read a quote of what he said today, and I'll analyze it for you. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell came out and said today, I actually do think this is one of those issues where it's more important for the United States to get it right than it is to be first. Given the dollar's important role globally, it's essential that we remain on the frontier of research and policy development. The dollar is the world's principal reserve currency, and there continues to be a large global demand for Federal Reserve notes. I mean, that's nothing that we don't know. Okay, so you didn't really say much there, but saying we'd rather do it right than be first, dragging his feet. What I took from a lot of the other notes that I took from this meeting that I read through is that the Federal Reserve and other central banks know that the digital currencies are the future. So they will go there. They are going to hold off as long as possible. But the bottom line is they will go to digital currencies. It's going to happen. So on that news, Bitcoin actually did move higher, and some of the altcoins moved with it. Bitcoin rallied up to about 11,700. So I'm just trying to pull it up now and see where we're at. My computer's extremely slow. I'm almost 11,800 now. The rally continues, 11,786. So we're seeing a decent size move here. In the last 24 hours, Bitcoin's up about 3.1%. And the altcoins are moving with it. About right around 11,800 right now. And if you take a look at the last month, this is actually breaking out to the best level we've seen in Bitcoin in a month. And man, I think I said last week on here, if not, I said it in a meeting, that the more and more that I read about altcoins and Bitcoin, the more and more that I love them. And I think Bitcoin 20,000 is inevitable. I must have said here, because somebody said, well, what about 40,000? I think it hits 40,000, but obviously it has to hit 20,000 first. I think 20,000 in the near term, 40,000, 50,000, if not more in the long term. So again, buying in at 11,800, if we go to 40,000, that's 3.5 times your money. So that's a hell of a move. And I really do think, I love stocks more than anybody out there, but I think there is a place in your portfolio that must be dedicated to cryptocurrencies, altcoins, and Bitcoin as well. And I own Bitcoin, as many of you know. I don't own the altcoins that we recommend in our newsletter just because that's our policy. But I do own Bitcoin. That is the one that I do own. So just so you know. So I think this is something where the Fed is open to it. They were open to it last year. They have a collaboration with MIT they're working on right now. So I think this is something that we do see continue to move forward. And all it does is give more legitimacy to digital currencies, to cryptocurrencies, to blockchain. I mean, folks, things, the way that they're moving in technology right now, the revolution we're seeing, more connectivity, more digital, it just lends itself to blockchain. It lends itself to software, which is a lot of altcoins are just truly the next generation of software. And for that all to continue to expand and accelerate, Bitcoin will be a large part of it. You're not going to see the gains in Bitcoin that you see in the altcoins, but I still think you could see, man, oh man, big upside potential. I'm looking at myself right now. If I'm a mess, it's because I did not dress this very early Monday morning to do a podcast. But at least I did shave this morning. So I got that going for me. So let's talk space. Before I get into your questions, and there's a shitload of questions coming. I see them coming in, and I'm going to get to as many as I can. Trust me. I'm going to get as many as I can. Space is a funny thing because you think to yourself, do you really want to invest in space? Is there truly an opportunity there? Who the hell wants to live on the moon? There's really nothing there. Mars, maybe, because it's a little bit closer to Earth. But NASA announced, believe it or not, when I woke up in the middle of the night, as I always do, and I started reading, I saw an article that NASA's launching a 4G, I don't know why it's not 5G, but a 4G mobile network on the moon. They actually signed up Nokia, symbol NOK, to do it. Under the Artemis program, that's NASA's program, they plan to send astronauts to the moon and have a sustainable human presence by 2028. We're almost at 2021, so that's not too far away. But Nokia's 4G network is going to allow the astronauts to carry out a number of activities of connectivity, obviously we're using 4G, but including making voice calls and video calls. I guess you'd be able to FaceTime your girlfriend from the moon. I mean, that's like, it's probably a couple of jokes in there somewhere, but it's pretty amazing. They say that the a lot of the other stuff they'll be able to send important data, deploying payloads, all done through this 4G, and that they eventually will launch a 5G. So I didn't read that far into the article. Eventually launch a 5G. Bell Labs, which is part of Nokia, they're granted $14.1 million for this contract. It is a big deal, I guess, for Nokia. It's not a lot of money. I mean, it's only $14.1 million. But, Ericsson, which we have in one of our portfolios, which I like much better than Nokia. It's done much better. Basically, Ericsson, Huawei, and Nokia are the three big players when it comes to equipment makers for wireless technology. But Nokia got this one. Again, $14 million. It's more of a fun story than anything. That being said, while I was looking at this, I had another story come across, and this last quarter, the third quarter, was the largest ever for space infrastructure spending. Came in at $3.6 billion. We're now at $5.5 billion for the entire year. That's the largest ever for an annual spending on space infrastructure, only through 3 quarters. So we're seeing money being spent on that. A large portion of this, though, was through SpaceX, which is Elon Musk company. They brought in $1.9 billion in August through a Series N funding. So they've had a lot of fundings prior to this. But you're seeing a lot of tech companies get into this. And I read a quote from one of the analysts, and he basically referred to, all tech companies, or all companies at one point, decades ago, moved towards technology. That all companies in the next couple of decades will have some type of space presence. All companies now have a tech presence. I don't care if you're just a restaurant. You have a tech presence in some way, whether it be through Grubhub selling stuff, being able to purchase online. There's a tech presence. And this analyst is saying that all companies will have a space presence. I don't know what that is, but it's interesting. So, of course, all I care about is how do we invest in this and make money off it. Virgin Galactic, which was a SPAC, SPCE is a symbol on that. That is up about 4% today. And if it closes here, it'd be the best close in about 2 months or so, a little over 2 months. That's Richard Branson's company, which again went public through a SPAC. It was at $10. It rallied up to 42 or so, back down to 10, and now it's at 23 and change. So it's still well above its SPAC price of $10. And they're planning their first launch soon. It should be right around the corner into space. And we'll see how that goes and see what the demand ends up being for people who just want to float around in space for a few minutes and come back down and say they went to space. It's a bunch of rich people saying they went to space, really. So I looked at UFO as a symbol. UFO, believe it or not. I mean, I love these symbols for these ETFs, these thematic ETFs, as they call it, very niche. UFO is up about 0.5% today with the market down. And its number one holding is Virgin Galactic, symbol SPCE. Its number 2 holding is MAXR, which is Maxar Technologies. And this is up 8.8% today. That stock, sorry, I got to move these things around. I'm trying to see all these damn charts on here. Maxar is Maxar Technologies. It's well off the high where it was a couple years ago, but it's had a nice run this year. It was down in March around $8. Now it's at $31.50-ish. Like I mentioned, up over 8.5% here today. And that's more of a satellite company, communications equipment company, satellites. So that's having a big move, maybe on this news. I don't know. There's a couple other top holdings. One's called Weather News. It trades over in Tokyo. Sirius XM, SIRI, because it's if you think about it, Sirius is obviously satellites, and that's satellite radio. So again, it's not really the type of play that I think of when I think of space exploration or space infrastructure. There's a couple other satellite makers in there, SES, Viasat, which is VSAT. So I look at this ETF, and this is not the way to play space for me. It's fun to talk about. It's called the Procure Space ETF, again, symbol UFO. But it's not how I would play space. I think probably of all of them out there, Virgin Galactic's probably the best way to play it, but no recommendation. Well, nothing I say is a recommendation here, just information. But I just don't, as intriguing as the future is with space, I don't see any really viable investments right now into space infrastructure exploration. Not yet. I'd like to see if SpaceX goes public one day. And maybe that's what Ackman tries to buy with his SPAC out there. He's trying to buy a unicorn worth several $1 billion. Maybe that's what he tries to buy. I don't think so, because I can't see him and Elon Musk getting along. Yeah, we'll see. All right, so that's space. I don't want to spend too much time on that. So let's get to your questions, because that's where a lot of fun comes in, because I don't know what the hell I'm about to read here. So let's pull it up, and I'm just going to start going through it. And I'm going to go in order, hopefully. Let's see where we're at. Where did I ask the question? All right, let's see what we got. First question is NIO. I talk about NIO all the damn time, but I'll talk about it again today. NIO is a symbol, Chinese electric vehicle company, basically the Tesla of China, as they say it. Again, I hone this for some clients at Penn Financial Group. I try to give disclosures when I can. So we have that. It closed at an all-time high on Friday. We're down about 2% today. But keep in mind, this stock has had a hell of a run. I mean, it was down in the low single digits in April, and now we're at just about $28 a share. So it's made a big run. So I think it could pull back a little bit here in the near term, but I love it long term. Obviously, we have it for clients. The same person asked a bunch of questions, so I'm going to skip over his other ones. Somebody here asked about Peloton and Alibaba. So Peloton is one I've talked about again a lot. That is the bike and now the treadmill. It's up today another 1%, 132.66. Friday, it hit an intraday all-time high. Last Thursday, it closed at the best level ever. Again, a stock that is up big. From the lows in March, it was down around $17, and now we're at 132 and change. Whew. Man, I missed out on this, because I was watching the entire time, and I was saying I like this stock, but I did not buy it or recommend it. And I'm kicking myself in the rear for not doing it, because I hate when I talk about things and I know they're good and I don't pull the trigger. But that being said, I can't beat myself up too much, because you're going to miss some. You can't buy every damn stock. You're going to miss some. So I still like it. It's a little pricey here. I would look for a pullback. So I would just be patient. Alibaba is a stock that we've had in our portfolio investment opportunities. And again, check out our free website where we have articles, and you can subscribe to all the newsletters. McCall.moneywire.com, MCCALL. Don't forget to like, subscribe here. We keep getting more and more people, more viewers, and it's awesome. We have a lot more new cool show ideas we're going to come up with. And send your comments below as well. Like, we love to see the comments. Anything you want us to do better, we can work on it. But Alibaba's in there, and Alibaba's been a nice winner for us. Alibaba's up 0.5% to a new all-time high here today. Last night before I went to bed, I was watching the football game, because I had a fantasy sports guy in it, and I'm sweating it out tonight's games, because it's going to be a tight one, and I'm in first place right now. But so I had to watch Cooper Kupp of the Rams put up basically terrible. So I turned it off, and I was watching Bloomberg and the Asian market open, which you guys know I always do. But as I was watching it, announced that Alibaba is spending $3.6 billion to take control of Chinese supermarket giant Sun Art. So it looks like it's up on that news, which is nice. And again, at a new all-time high. It's great to see that. All right, so good questions here so far. Nothing out of the ordinary. Let's see what else we got. Amazon earnings. I haven't looked at Amazon earnings yet, so I don't know. They had a nice Prime Day. Remember, I talked about $10 billion, and they did meet that, so they had a really nice Prime Day. I assume they're going to be fantastic. I just don't know what's priced into the stock here as of yet. Somebody else asked about current plays in the cannabis leading up to the election. I just kind of talked about that a little bit, or I didn't actually. I just wrote about it. So all early stage investor subscribers, you'll get the new issue on Thursday. You're getting 4 new stocks, by the way. 4 new this month. Woo-hoo-hoo. You're going to like them too. But you're getting 4 new stocks, and I talk about that there. So the U.S. are going to go ahead and play. If the blue wave comes through, cannabis will be decriminalized early 2021 and most likely legalized at the federal level. If Trump wins, I still believe it does get legalized at the federal level during his next 4 years, because I think the Fed needs to get money. How do they get money when they keep spending on stimulus? They generate more tax revenue. How do you do that? You legalize cannabis and tax the hell out of it. That's how you get it. All right, let's see what else we got here. It's a general question, not a bad one, but it's the same guy, so I'm not going to go to it. What else do we got here? Bloom Energy, that's one I don't know if I've talked about it yet or in a long while. Bloom Energy symbol BE. So let's take a look at Bloom because I think that's kind of an interesting play. This is a stock that's had a big run. It ran up to a new high. It was a new yearly high, but it was an IPO back in 2018. It was close to $40, fell all the way down to about $3, 2 and change. Now it's back up to 19. So let me pull up here and I'll take a look at this with you. If I'm squinting, it's because I can't see my damn computer. It's so far away right now, the screen. So Bloom, BE is the symbol, Bloom Energy, here we go. It is it sells solid oxide fuel cell systems for on-site power generation, $2.5 billion company. So this is definitely one of those clean energy plays, which could do very well, especially if the Democrats do the sweep. It reported revenue last year of $785 million by 2022, looking for 1.34. So that's about 80% growth. Yeah, I mean it's about really nice growth. It's not making any money right now, but let's see what we look like in the future here, and hopefully nobody knocked me out of this system. Estimates for this year coming in. About losing about 71 cents a share, losing about 16 next year, and then profit about 40 cents a share in 2022. I like what I see here, and I like the sector that it's in, and it's had huge volume on the breakout, and since pulled back, tons of support between $17 and $19. It's at $18.99, up about 0.7% today. So yeah, let's again, never recommending anything here, but let's put that on. It's on my watch list already, but let's keep it on there. I think that looks pretty good. So great. Thanks for the Fredo, his name is. Thanks for that, Fredo. Let's see what else we got here. Somebody just asked about NASA and Nokia. I just talked about that. Let's see what else. JKS, and that's JinkoSolar. Everybody knows we just put out a new solar portfolio. JinkoSolar has been going bananas. I mean, you very rarely see stocks do this, but JinkoSolar in September was at $18.94. It's up another 7.4% to $75.09. $75.09 from 18 to $75.09 in literally 4.5 weeks. That's insane. That means that $18,000 investments now worth $75. I mean, this chart, if you pull up JKS, is like nothing I've ever seen. I mean, it is like nothing I've ever seen of a stock. I mean, I'm not talking about like some altcoin, of a stock. This is unbelievable, of a real stock, not a pump and dump either. So I would never chase anything here, but obviously a lot of good stuff going on. I would just, I would just really, truly not chase it here. But I might be wrong. I'm not paying $75 a share for it at this point right now. What else here? Somebody asking about KCAC, which is a SPAC. It's Kensington. And if you read Barron's, which I do every weekend, I suggest you do. There's always some great stuff in there. But Barron's this weekend, they talked about some of the SPACs that are related to EVs, electric vehicles, and that sector. And I found it quite fascinating what they talked about. And they talked about how most of them, if not all of them, don't have any revenue yet, but they have very high expectations of what they're going to generate in revenue in the next couple of years. And they took those expectations for the companies and they discounted it back to what they should be trading at today. And basically, Barron's said, based on those expectations, again, those are company expectations. So companies always tend to see themselves a little bit better look in the mirror than they really think they are. It's true. I've raised money for small companies. They always think they're better looking than they are. They think they're 10s when they're probably 6s a lot of times, just to kind of put that analogy in there. So they're always going to have these great expectations and lofty numbers. And they should, because they believe in their company. They should have lofty numbers. But so Barron's talked about it and they discounted it back and really said, based on the value of the basket they talked about right now, and they mentioned, I think, 6 to 8 different EV-related SPACs, that they are actually undervalued based on discounted model that they used, based, again, on the company's expectations. So take that for what it's worth. But it's a good article. I'd recommend reading it. And just go to, I don't know if you have to pay for it or not on Barron's. I have a subscription. But you could always get Barron's really cheap. Get it online. You can read it on your phone. It's a great little weekend magazine. You know, it comes out once a week. Saturday mornings. I get it Friday night when I wake up in the middle of the night when I can't sleep and I read it. So it's good though. But somebody's asking about, what I think this was mentioned in the article, Kensington Capital, KCAC. This company is announced it's going to merge with QuantumScape, which is a solid-state battery company. And many of you know I love solid-state batteries. I think it's the future of battery technology. Battery technology to me is unbelievable. I just think, like, it's one of those areas that hasn't really been updated for a long, long time. We need a huge breakthrough. To me, it's not lithium ion. Elon Musk would probably argue with me. I think it's solid state. There's a couple ways it could go. I don't know, but my bets are on solid state. It's safer, cheaper, lasts longer. You could charge it many more times. It's basically like the forever battery, as a lot of people call it. So to me, I think solid state is the way to go. QuantumScape is a solid state battery play, believe it or not, backed by a lot of people with a lot of big money, big name companies out there, big name people, I should say. So they also have a deal with Volkswagen. I like it. I like KCAC. So when KCAC came out, it gapped up on the news, ran all the way up to 26. It's now pulled back to 14.73. Remember, this was a SPAC, so it was $10 and then gapped up. I like it down in this area, so it's one to keep an eye on. But again, a lot of risk with some of these SPACs, so you have to be careful. But a lot of risk with them. But I do like this one down here. Let me see if there's any more questions. I'll take one more, and I will wrap for the day. Oh, here we go. Caesars Entertainment, CZR is the question. Caesars is interesting because they have a deal out there. A lot of it, the reason that this Caesars has been doing well and some of these gambling stocks have been doing well is because of the fact that they have sports gambling, basically. They have sports gambling exposure. They also have exposure to a couple other areas that aren't getting hit as much by the pandemic. Because with the pandemic, as many of you know, there's just not as many people going, to the casinos. I mean, it's pretty simple, right? But when I look at Caesars, it's interesting. I look at it, and it's a company where I think it could continue to pull back, or could continue to rebound. It's had a nice run. It's consolidated. It's forming what's called a flagging pattern on the charts over the last month, sitting around 54.5 right now. So for me, I think Caesars could be a real nice play here, and it does have some exposure again to the sports gambling aspect, which I like. Sports gambling to me is where you're going to see huge upside, in my opinion. So keep an eye on it, and it's not a bad play. It's really not. I mean, it got killed in the pandemic. It came back. I like it. The more and more I'm talking myself into it, CZR, Caesars. I like it, and the thing is, it's a proximity play. When things do get back to normal, people will go back to the casinos and spend. And then with the sports gambling really taking off, man, I do see some upside there. So I do like Caesars here. All right, everybody, thank you so much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends. If you have any questions, please comment below. Any thoughts, please comment below. Sorry for the kind of all over the place show. Again, I put this together in 10 minutes because I forgot I had to do one. But thank you so much, everybody. Again, let's just recap what we did. Stimulus, Pelosi gave the White House 48 hours. We don't know what that 48 hours means. She's meeting with Mnuchin this afternoon. We'll see if a deal gets done. Again, I think the odds are betting 50% a deal gets done before the election. It would be great for stocks. Central banks met, CBDC, central bank digital currency. And that is pushing Bitcoin to its highest level, above 11,800 right now, the highest level in over a month. That's good for that. It's good for Bitcoin, good for our altcoin portfolio, rock and roll, and thank you so much for that. We talked about space. UFO is a way to play it as far as an ETF, but not my way to play it. I think that there's other ways to look at it. Not a lot out there right now, but it's something to keep an eye on long term. And then again, of course, we took your questions. Thank you so much for giving me your questions on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at Matthew McCall. But again, head over to McCallMoneyWire.com. All of our free articles are on there, free reports, free SPAC report, 2 ideas in there. Everything that you want is on that website. Go out there and have a great rest of your week. Our live event is tomorrow night, Tuesday. Check it out. Go to McCallMoneyWire.com, get all the information. And we will be back Friday with the next podcast. Thank you so much. I am Matt McCall, and this has been your Moneyline.
Thanks for listening to Moneyline with Matt McCall. To find more information, head over to McCallMoneyWire.com. That's McCallMoneyWire.com.